What is up, guys, and welcome back to Vanderham Farms. For those of you that are new, my name is Brian, and I work at a dairy here located in California Central Valley. In today's video, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys an equipment tour and show you guys all the equipment that we have here on the dairy. So first up, this is one of our loaders. This is the same loader that we use for feeding, so it's the exact same loader, just that one we have with a different bucket. In case we were to ever have that one break down, this bucket's detachable. You just jump in the cab here, the detach button, and take off some hoses in the front, and we'd be able to use this loader. Here on the side, we have another one of our pushing tractors that has the rake, so you can go ahead and bust the beds as well. We had a lot of issues with these Case 70A, so we're not currently using them. That's why we got that new John Deere. This tractor right here, they just dropped off. It's a rental. We're probably gonna use this for around the dairy, since they were using our tractor that we use for scraping normally, and that's why that's here. Right next to that, we have our rotating harrow. So this we use to go ahead and flip the dirt, and when you attach this to the 3-point hitch, as you're going, it's actually gonna spin, and what that does, it flips all the dirt. This is what we use to flip the dirt that we use as bedding in the back. So that's what that is. Here's one of our water trucks. We call this the Army truck. It's a pretty cool truck. It looks like it used to be used as a fire support vehicle, but we acquired this a couple years back. I do want to apologize. I know it's pretty noisy right here. It's a pretty hot day here today, so we have all our fans running inside the milk barn. So that's what all that noise is. On this side, we have our Wacom stall bedder trailer. So you guys seen this in that bedding video. If you guys want to see more in action, or you guys haven't checked it out yet, go ahead and check that out. So yeah, this hooks up with the PTO and then just the hitch. That's some hydraulic closes, and that's what controls the whole system. Hey, I was driving by and I seen these sprinklers go off, or the misters. Like I said, it is getting pretty hot out here, so that's why you see them. And they're set automatically, so once one side turns on, the other one will turn on. And these misters, they just go ahead and spray the cows on the backs as they're eating. So I mean, it just helps them keep cool. And so now we made it out to our commodity barn. It's a little noisy as well here. They're washing the tractor. So once a week, we'll try to keep our tractors washed, and we'll just go ahead and clean the filters, the air filters every day. Just go ahead and blow them out. Here you guys can see my dad. He's over here washing his tractor. So I went ahead and just came to the second tractor since my dad was washing the first one. That way there's not as much noise. But yeah, we're running the same tractors on both feed wagons, the 8295R. These tractors have been pretty good for us, real reliable. Not a whole lot of issues with them or breakdowns. And for feed wagons, we actually have, they're both Lariats, but this one's a 1400 double D and the other one's a 1500 double D. So, I mean, it's just a little bit of a difference, not much. Our loader's not actually here right now. They're moving the straw bales in the front, but I mean, it is the same loader as the one I showed you guys before, 624L. So I'm currently in one of our open pens where they're scraping. This is something we like to do during the summers. Obviously in the winters it's too moist or too wet, so during those times we just make a pile and haul it out. But during the summers, what we usually do is this: we'll go ahead and pull out all the moist dirt under the shades and spread it out in the rest of the pen. Here you guys can see we're using the 6430. This tractor is really strong. It has this big mudder tire, so it's really good in this dirt. It never really loses force, and this is a job that I actually used to do a lot. So all these girls that you see right here, they just got back from milking. That's why they have a lot of energy. Typically we're trying to do this before they get back, but today we're a little behind on scraping. So that's why there's quite a bit of cows. For the most part, most of them are going to be in the feed bunks just eating and under the shade. But right now, since I am here, there's a lot of them around me. So this is a process that we'll actually do 2 times a week. And that's just to ensure that there's nice dry bedding under the shades where they can rest, and that they're not laying in any of that moisture. And what we're trying to do here is just get rid of any of those clumps that are made up when it's all moist. Here you guys see more of the girls walking in. So these pens, the ones that we have in the back, are actually split I'm not sure. At some point, it looks like there used to be two. During all the time that I've worked here, they've always been like this, connected as one. But you guys can see what how good the pens look after he's done. Basically, he's gonna get all that moist dirt that's under the shades and just spread it out as much as he can and leave it as even as possible. That way it all dries completely. This pen that we're in right now, this is pen 17. So these are lower production cows that are, for the most part, most of them are gonna be pregnant. And they just finished getting milk, so they have a lot of energy. They feel light. I wish I could record a little bit more, but I'm not gonna go ahead and hold him behind since he's running a little bit late. Hopefully later I could go ahead and record the tractor while it's stopped. But you guys can see some of these girls are pretty curious, just standing around. Okay, so I just made it out to where we dry our manure. And basically what they're doing right now is with the side dump and that 8R, they're trying to make these windrows to where it's easy to spread later and go ahead and fully dry it. So all this is that moist manure that's been separated from the separator. You can see the separator right there out in the distance. And so usually what they'll do when they get a lot of accumulated right there and they don't have time to spread, they'll just make these piles, especially in the winter since we can't really dry in the winter. They'll go ahead and just make these piles. And so that's what they're spreading right now. They're not bringing it all the way from the separator like they normally would. They're getting out of this pile right here that you see right there. That's a wet pile. And this one on this side that you can see, that's a dry pile. You can see the significant difference. So this one's way darker, and that one's still gonna sit there for about a year. So I mean, it'll be tarped and covered to protect it from the elements. And basically under the tarp, it's gonna fully bake. So as for the trailer that we're running, I believe this is, they're called the Tubstar 28 Double T. And these are fabricated by MSC Equipment. We actually have another one that's gonna come in. That way, like in the winter when we're pretty busy, we're able to run 2 trailers at a time instead of having to wait on one. So this loader that we're using right now to load up the side dump and with the 8R, this is our smallest loader, the 544K John Deere. And this one has that tilting bucket feature as well that you can see right there. So that actually helps so that when you're trying to dump it to higher places, you're at less risk of hitting the side of the trailer, since it does dump from the point in the front, not all the way in the back. So all loaders, you'll see them that they obviously they lift and then they could tilt the entire arm. But this one here, apart from that, also has that tilting feature right there that you see. So like I said, that's really helpful. Helps to get the dirt farther back into the trailer. And it also helps you reach into higher places, making sure you don't hit the trailer. So this was actually another job that I used to do as well. So let's go ahead and see if I'm still able to do it. Not sure if I'm gonna be able to record just because it's been a while since I've done this. Hopefully I don't leave too big of a pile. So yeah, overall it's pretty simple. It's just one control that controls the whole tilting of the bucket or the tub. Just make sure to turn it off once it gets all the way down. There we go. So it didn't do the best job. You guys can see I left quite a bit of a pile right here at the end instead of spreading it all pretty evenly. But I mean, not too bad for. So now we made it back to the front of the dairy, and here we can see our pushing tractor that's parked. So let's go ahead and take it out for a spin so you guys kind of see us pushing the feed. I mounted my GoPro on there, so hopefully it doesn't fall down right now. So yeah, like I said, that tractor, the red one that I showed you guys before, it's parked right there. That used to be our old pushing tractor, but we had a lot of issues with its clutch. So this tractor is actually automatic, which makes it much better for the job. And on top of that, it's four-wheel drive while the other one wasn't, so the tires would spin a lot. We're just waiting here a little bit. We have a bit of cow traffic. But yeah, like I was saying, this tractor is actually automatic. So this pedal that you see right here on the left, that's actually our forward, and this one's backwards. So if you press that one, it'll actually go backwards, and this one forward. So this tractor doesn't actually have a clutch, that's just a brake. And these are the hydraulic controls for the arm. So this one's actually in control of the whole boom, while this one's the tilt of the rake. And this last one right here, that one controls the blade that pushes the feed. And there you have it, that's the last of them. All right, so we're good to go now. Drop the blade. They just push this feed too, so it doesn't look like it needs much. But we'll just go ahead and give it a little push. That way the cows don't have to stretch out their necks at all. Here you guys can see those emisters going off again. Go ahead and give it a little bit of throttle. Every now and then you'll get a cow like that one that they'll nibble on the actual sprayer or mister, and they break them since they are plastic. This year we're trying out new misters that are actually metal, so hopefully that helps so that the cows don't break them. You guys can see this other tractor that has a blade as well, and it has a little cage on the back. That's what we pick up our calves with. So the one you guys just seen pass by, that's actually our maternity guy. During the afternoons when it's a little bit slower, he'll actually go ahead and do rounds pushing the feed. We try to push our feed every hour or so. That way the cows aren't needing to stretch out as much for their food, and it's just up close and they're able to eat as much. Here you guys can see some of the other cows that are just leaving the milking barn. There's some over here on this side as well, going towards their pen. Come on, girls, go home and eat. They like to stay right here in this little like shaded spots. I mean, it's nice and fresh, especially on these hotter days. It just helps them stay cooler. But yeah, once they get to their pens, they're gonna have fresh food, fresh water. And so we just got to the end of this one. There's a cattle guard as well. So then all you do is just go ahead and scoot back. I drop the blade. All right, so I just finished pushing all the feed. In total, it takes about 30 minutes. But I ended up here at the maternity barn. And this 70A, it's the same one that we have on that other side. Just that this one only has that one blade to push and the little basket here to collect the calves. So the nice thing about having this blade on this side compared to the one on this side is that after a long day of pushing the feed with this tractor, what's gonna happen is all the feed at the end of the left side is gonna be going towards the end, and you're gonna end up with the big pile at the end. So in the afternoons, we'll usually use this tractor to push it back, and that way we kind of keep that in check. Pushing the feed back, that way it's not all piled up on one side. You can see here, this is our other, this is the track that we do use to rototill our beds. So this rototiller is actually PTO driven. You guys can see right there in the back. And this is what it looks like afterwards. Look, whenever you take a step, it's so fluffy that it'll actually just go ahead and compress. It's nice dry dirt that's used right here on our pack barns. And we go ahead and rototill all of our pack barns every day. You guys can see that the cows are still in this pen, so they'll go ahead and move out of the way. He's going at a pretty slow pace. You guys can see how these cows really like to come onto it. He just passed, and right away they come onto the soft fluffy spot that he just went ahead and did. Yeah, and the tractor that we have it on is a Kubota M96S. I mean, for this job, it's a pretty good tractor. Some of you guys were asking that if it's reduces our turning radius because of the wheels are so big on these motor tractors, and the answer is yes. But also, since these tires are so thin, if you look at the tires, how thin they are, we're able to get some of that turning radius back. And I mean, it just works pretty good for the job. I know it's pretty loud once he actually does start tilling. He has to accelerate the tractor, that way it's a little bit more force. He engages that PTO and drops the 3-point hitch so that the rototiller sits on the ground. That's how we keep our beds nice and fluffy and comfortable for our cows here in our pack barn. I was editing the video earlier. I noticed that I didn't film an outro that day. We had some stuff going on at the dairy, so I didn't finish the video. Just want to say a huge thank you to you guys for watching. If you guys want to see part 2 where I do a tour of all the farming equipment that we have, go ahead and comment down below and give it a like.